Pre-statistics. Solving linear equations in one variable. Lesson objectives. State if a value is a solution to an equation. Solve one variable linear equations and check their solutions. Lesson objective number 1. A linear equation in one variable is an equation that can be put in the form mx plus b equals 0, where m and b are constants and m is not equal to 0. A number is a solution of an equation in one variable if the equation becomes a true statement when the number is substituted for a variable. So in other words, when the left-hand side and the right-hand side are equal, whatever number makes that true statement is a solution. Now when that happens, we say that that number satisfies the equation. The set of all solutions of the equation is called the solution set. We solve an equation by finding its solution set. So we just got to keep in mind we want the left hand side of the equal sign to equal the right hand side. Let's do an example. Number 1, is 3 a solution to the equation 5 times the quantity x minus 1 equals 10 plus 2x? Number 2, is 5 a solution to this equation? Let's begin with number 1. We substitute 3 in for x into the equation. We have a question mark here because we want to see, does the left hand side equal the right hand side? Following the order of operation for the left hand side, we're going to subtract first, then multiply. For the right hand side, we're going to multiply first, then add. So we see that 5 times 2, does it equal 10 plus 6? And the answer is no. 10 does not equal 16. This is a false statement, so 3 is not a solution. Number 2, now we substitute 5 in for x. Do the same procedure as the previous example, but this time we end up with 20 equals 20. This is a true statement, therefore 5 is a solution to that equation. Lesson objective number 2. Remember that whenever adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing, and of course that's our operations, what is done to one side of the equation must also be done to the other side of the equation. This is known as the golden rule of algebra. Now why is that the case? Well, if we look at this visual, we can think of an equation as a balance. The left hand side is equal to the right hand side, so it's balanced. So if we do something to this side of the equation, we have to do it to this side of the equation so it will stay balanced. So when we're solving equations, we want to think about what the goal is, and the goal is to get the variable all by itself. We want to isolate the variable either on the left hand side of the equal sign or the right hand side. Let's do some examples. Example 2, solve x minus 2 equals 3. Since x is on the left hand side of the equal sign, we need to move all the numbers, get rid of all the numbers that's on the same side of the equal sign. So the opposite of subtracting 2 is adding 2. So we're going to add 2 to both sides of the equation, and we get x equals 5. So the solution to this equation is x equals 5. Now to check this, what we're going to do is take the original equation and we're going to substitute 5 in for x, and we see if the left hand side equals the right hand side, and it does. 3 does equal 3, so it checks. So the solution is 5. We verified it. Example 3, solve 4/5 times x equals 8. Now our variables on the left hand side again, we want to get rid of 4/5. So one way of getting rid of 4/5 is to multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 4/5 is 5/4. So if we multiply both sides by 5/4, the reciprocal, the 5's cancel, the 4's cancel, this becomes a 1, and 1 times x is x. If we multiply here, 5/4 times 8 becomes 10. So 1x equals 10, and of course 1x is the same thing as x. So the solution is 10. Now we can solve this another way. 4/5 times x equals 8. Well, the opposite of times is to divide. So we can divide by 4/5, and if we divide this side by 4/5, we have to divide this side by 4/5. These cancel, we're left with x. So we have 8 divided by 4/5, and we can compute that by hand. 8 over 1, change this to multiplication, and flip. So we have x equals 40 divided by 4, which is 10. Now we can verify this by using the calculator. If we take 8 and divide it by 4/5, we need parentheses here around the 4/5. We get 10. Example number 4, we have -12 equals 3t. The variable is on the right hand side. We need to get rid of the -3. Since the -3 is multiplying, we do the opposite, which is to divide. We do it to both sides of the equation. -12 divided by -3 is a +4. So we have 4 equals t. The variable is isolated and the solution is 4. Now to check this, we write down the original equation, and everywhere we see a t, we're going to substitute our solution, which is a +4, and we see left hand side -12 equals -3 times +4 is a -12. It checks. We verified it, and the solution is t equals 4. Example number 5, we have 2x divided by 3 equals 5/6. We need to get rid of the 2, we need to get rid of the 3. So we can think of 2x divided by 3 is the same thing as 2/3 times x. So one way of eliminating 2/3 is to multiply by the reciprocal, 3 over 2. So if we multiply both sides by 3 over 2, the 3's are going to cancel, the 2's are going to cancel. We're left with x. And if we take 3 over 2 and multiply it by 5 over 6, we're going to get 15 over 12, which reduces to 5/4. Another way we can solve this problem is by dividing by 2/3. So if we take and divide by 2/3, 2/3 divided by 2/3, these cancel. We're left with x, and that's what we want. Bring down our equal sign. If we divide this side by 2/3, we have to divide this side by 2/3. So we have 5/6 divided by 2/3. Now we can enter this on the calculator, or we could do it by hand. If you do it by hand, you have to remember same change flip. 5/6 stays the same. Change the division to multiplication, and then you flip this fraction. So you're left with 15 over 12, which of course reduces to 5 over 4. To verify this on the calculator, if we take 5/6 and divide it by 2/3, we get 1.25. And if we hit the math button and hit enter, we change our answer to a fraction, 5/4. To check it, we take our equation 2/3 and we substitute our variable x, which was 5/4, was the solution, and hopefully this equals the right hand side, 5/6. Multiplying fractions, we get 10 over 12. 2 times 5 is 10. Over 3 times 4 is 12. And does that equal 5/6? If we reduce this, 2 goes into both the numerator and denominator. This becomes 5/6, and of course that equals the right hand side. So we verified it is correct. And using the calculator, if we take 2/3 and multiply it by 5/4 and change it to a fraction, we get 5/6. So it's correct. Our last example, we have -4 equals n divided by 3. N is on the right hand side. We need to get rid of the 3. The 3 is dividing, so we're going to do the opposite of divide and multiply both sides by 3. So left hand side becomes -12. The 3's cancel, we're left with n. That's our solution. -12 equals n. To check it, we take our equation, original equation, everywhere we see an n, we're going to stick -12, and we want to hope this side equals this side, and of course -12 divided by 3 is a -4. Left hand side is -4. It checks. So in summary, what we have to do is we have to identify what side of the equation the variable's on, and then undo the operations involving the variable. So if that involves addition, we subtract. If it's subtraction, we add. If it's dividing the variable, we multiply. And if we're multiplying the variable, we divide. Thanks for watching.